Hey guys, welcome back to another video about the Serpwizz reports. My name is Deepak Shukla, founder here at Serpwizz, and we're talking today about embedded objects and what they mean, why they're important, and their impact upon SEO. So if you've got ultimately a tick here, it means that they haven't found any typically unusual embedded options on your website. So this is for Pearl Lemon, and we do have embedded content to the extent of having YouTube videos, as well as, for example, our contact us form isn't necessarily embedded, it's baked into the website. And I want to talk a little bit about embedded objects and their importance, etc. So there are various kinds of embedded objects, and they kind of differentiate to some extent. So with YouTube videos, you are embedding content from a very known and trusted source that's still ultimately a third-party application. So Google will give some of the link juice that comes to your site to YouTube as well, because you're linking away and saying, hey, this is an important video. So that's just one consideration. Now, the value of that is that you can increase your YouTube traffic if YouTube traffic is something that's important to you. If it isn't, then I'd say that you could embed it onto your site. You can use, Amazon, Amazon, is it Amazon SW3? You could use a variety of hosting applications such as Wistia or Vimeo, but you can ultimately self-host it, and that will mean that the attribution stays with you. If you then mark that embedded object with rich video, and this is self-hosting, if you then mark that up with video snippets and rich data, you get the chance of potentially appearing for rich snippets, meaning that if you identify a target keyword that has a rich snippet, like how to, what if, and these kinds of questions, you can, with the help of an embedded video, do quite well. So ultimately, when you have embedded objects, we haven't found any. What this means is when you have something that's on your own host, it can potentially slow it down depending upon the style of the hosting. So for YouTube, I mean, YouTube to a degree, arguably there's different ways to optimize it, but you will be completely fine with YouTube. YouTube is a style of embedded object, but it's kind of an iframe that will play something that's hosted from a third-party source. Whereas if you're hosting it yourself, then it's likely to slow down your load times depending upon how blazing fast your host is. But if you are looking to maintain viewership on your website, then hosting it on your website so people don't click away is advantageous. So there's a couple of complexities that go into this. Typically speaking, I'd say that for most of us, hosting it on a third-party platform such as Vimeo, such as Dailymotion, such as YouTube, is preferable, because it really depends upon the size of the speed of your server and your bandwidth. Because if you're hosting a lot of heavy videos on your website, you better have some damn good hosting to not slow down the speed of your site, and that's the challenge of it. So whilst you can think about the rich snippets and the fact if it's only on your website, Google doesn't have any alternatives to go to, and it sees you as being the main authority, as does your audience, which increases the likelihood of conversions. The problem with that is that you're focusing upon that kind of, let's say, rich snippet audience, and or you're looking, of course, at keeping people on your site, which is very, very important. And there are things that you can do with keeping people on site about playing with the HTML of the embed on YouTube to remove the buttons at the bottom that take people away, and just making it a bit more complicated for people to watch it off-site. So there's some of the considerations to think about. But for most people, I'd say if you're self-hosting, it would tend to slow your site down. So we don't self-host, and having an iframe and that player, and having it load from a third-party source can slow your site down to a degree. But fundamentally, the alternative, if you've got like a 2 GB file that you're trying to load from your own site and your own server, that's likely to cause more challenges. So that's for that reason why not having any embedded objects on most websites is good for your load times, which is of course then good for SEO. So does that make sense, guys? Catch you in the next video.